Today we take many things for granted which were once groundbreaking discoveries. From the number zero to the theory of gravity, we don't usually think about these things. And when we do think about how we know about these concepts, we miss the other part.
But who knew this? Or why did this concept stay? Why do we know so much today, and why is technology progressing at an exponential rate? To find the answer to the future, we look back hundreds of years to when trade was booming along the Silk Road.
Many different products were traded along the Silk Road, making it the famous source of just about everything we know. But not only trade products were passed along this famous road. So was culture, the birth of our modern science, technology, engineering, art, and math, or STEAM, took root as thoughts were passed on and improved upon.
But where did all of this inquiry originate? Most of the STEAM items were brought back to classical Greece. Within Greece, many philosophers were forming an idea, the reliance of observational evidence instead of blind faith. So, by the time the Silk Road, information went from Greece to India and Islam, and further spread to China and Europe.
Although ancient Greece's golden age fell, and the Roman Empire not soon after, their influence on the world around them did not. As the Silk Road became more popular, so did sciences like alchemy, physiology, and astronomy. And with the rise of such studies came inventions and lifestyles which saved lives and enhanced them. To the west, the Byzantine Empire held hundreds of ancient Greek books on Plato, Aristotle, and other great ancient minds' studies. Using this knowledge, the Islamic and Byzantine empires were able to come to terms over the need for more information. Islam created maps using the work of books and came up with precise astronomical calculations. Speaking of astronomy, using these ancient books and newly found information, Arab and Persian merchants sailing in the Indian Ocean elaborated a universal navigational system. But the Islamic Empire was also making grounds for alchemy, which would be the widest spread science along the road, along with astronomy. China's scientists were big believers in alchemy, using it towards their religion, a strife for immortality. However, in between these two powerhouses of science came India, whose medicines and remedies saved lives as it was passed on and improved upon by Islam, Byzantine, and reaching medieval Europe.
There are many great technological inventions that were transported all around the world on the Silk Road. The Silk Road was a network of trade routes formally established during the Han Dynasty of China, which linked the regions of the ancient world in commerce. One of the reasons for the name Silk Road is because silk was a very popular trade item, and because of this, China made a fortune on silk trade to Europe and the West. The cultural exchange through the Silk Road offered benefits and common progress. For example, breeding of silkworms and silk spinning was spread from China to the West because it was a precious and new material.
Engineering is a mix of mathematics and science. However, social factors and politics also had some responsibility. The earliest known engineer was Imhotep, who designed and supervised the rise of the Pyramid of Djoser. A bit later, Greece had developed both civilizational and military machines, such as the Antikythera mechanism, the first known mechanical computer. The Chinese, Greek, and Roman armies spread their knowledge and led to the production of military technologies, such as artillery, ballista, and catapults, as well as the trebuchet developed in the Middle Ages. Engineering was the beginning of innovation and what led to many of the military advancements and much more. If engineering had not been a part of STEAM, the world would still be living in straw huts.
Art has always gone hand in hand with engineering, helping art create amazing pieces in location and size. Art has always been a versatile subject. It can encompass many things, including food, metallurgy, pottery, and textiles. It extends into many different subject matters, such as history, daily life, and legends and myths. Through the Silk Road, art has gone from Europe to Africa to the Byzantine Empire to the Islamic Empire to India and China. Many examples can be seen in the Silk Road art exchanges, such as Greek influences on Han art. Designs with rosette flowers, geometric lines, and glass inlays suggestive of Hellenistic influences can be found on some early Han Dynasty bronze mirrors. Also, other artistic influences from the Silk Road can be found in Asia, one being the Greek wind god Boreas, going through Central Asia and China to become the Japanese Shinto wind god Fujin.
Math had continued to spread throughout the other major cities along the Silk Road. Starting off in Greece, Greece was able to begin studying integral calculus in the Hellenistic period, which was still being studied 2 millennia later. Also trigonometry and some algebra. In India, they were able to discover spherical trigonometry, and in the Byzantine Empire, they were able to build many architectural marvels by finding many different formulas correlating with geometry. Along this line, Islam, China, and Europe were able to perfect algebra and ways numbers worked, like the concept of pi.
Overall, STEAM has helped create the future. Things like the iPhone or flat-screen TVs for your amusement wouldn't be here today if technology didn't spread throughout the Silk Road. Different kinds of medicine like Tylenol, Advil, or antibiotics were sparked by the science of the past that spread throughout the world.
Hundreds of years ago, math and engineering intertwined, making many modern architectural marvels and skyscrapers possible, even the International Space Station. All which started with monuments like the Hagia Sophia and Notre Dame were created by the blending of art, math, and engineering.
Art has helped color the world, the paintbrush which dyed the Silk Road and the world. Not only were eye-pleasing miracles like stained glass in Europe beautiful and inspiring, but so were the cuisines that spread like rice and spices, cinnamon from India, making a luxury which people still use to express themselves.
So without STEAM, the world would be a blank slate. Because of STEAM, the world transformed in that critical time period of the Silk Road. When STEAM spread throughout the Silk Road and into the world became enlightened.
The world took advantage of this. They took this newfound knowledge and built upon it, adding another level. If it had not been for STEAM, a lot of what we know today probably wouldn't have been known.
Who knows? Perhaps one day you will be the one using precise mathematical skills to make the landing on Mars, or finalizing a true cure for cancer. Maybe you will build the first fully active artificial intelligence, or creating music that moves nations.
STEAM created an infinite path that is still being filled with the treasures of knowledge. It created the future before them and is still building the future before us. Without it, the world would be halted in a standstill, an empty canvas.